It's the worst of the CBC for November 5th and 6th, the Epstein didn't kill himself version, the show where I watch the CBC so you don't have to. All right, we're going to get to the Jeffery Epstein didn't kill himself, and CBC didn't cover the Epstein cover-up, but first we'll get to the worst covered story of the day, because this one was just so obvious. We're just going to quickly hit this one up. So Canadian pork and beef is now being sold to China again. The Chinese put an embargo on it. They hit us hard after the Meng Wanzhou arrest. We have 2 Canadians. We took 1 Chinese national. They kidnapped 2 Canadians. They shut down canola and beef and pork. And the CBC is trying to put this as like a big diplomatic win for Trudeau. He got it done. Do we know why? No, we don't know why the Chinese have let it up. But they're trying to say like, oh, good, we got an ambassador. The government's doing things. The Prime Minister is surfing right now. But they're like, do we know why? No, we don't know why. I know why. Okay, luckily they did bring in the former ambassador to China to actually explain why later, but they're like, we don't know why, but it's a big win for Trudeau. Remember, canola is still blocked, but the reason why Canadian beef and pork is being sold to China again is because China has massive swine flu and their livestock has been decimated. So China, in order to avoid starving, is now taking foreign exports from Canada because all their pigs and cows have died of disease. So that's why they're buying our pigs and cows again. It has nothing to do with blackface McSurf, okay? That was just ridiculous. So CBC, swine flu, report it. Come on. All right, so you might have heard, but there's a bit of a cover-up of the Jeffrey Epstein suicide. And in fact, he probably didn't even commit suicide. I know, we're shocked. He either was murdered or he's not even dead and he's off on an island somewhere doing pedophile things. Who knows? Now, what broke yesterday is there was a clip put out by Project Veritas, which is doing something. It's I haven't heard this word in a while. They do journalism. I think it's like a hard J, a journalism. So they do journalism, and this thing where you like expose and you do research and you expose facts and truth to the wider world. So they journalized and they put out a video of ABC anchor basically on a hot mic saying, God damn it, we had this Epstein story 3 years ago, but it was quashed. They had Dershowitz, an American lawyer, Bill Clinton, former president, and Prince Andrew, a member of the royal family. And the CBC didn't cover this? I mean, it was trending on Twitter, finally. We worked really hard to get it trending, but the CBC didn't even mention, wasn't even on the Chiron. I came back and watched this. I usually don't have time on Tuesdays and Wednesdays to do this, but it's just nowhere. Now, is this not a big story? ABC, which is owned by Disney, so that's, ABC, ESPN, Disney, all the Marvel and Star Wars films, like all the top 5 grossing films for the next 10 years will be under Disney, Hollywood. Do you not think it's important? I can get, okay, maybe, we're Canada, and that's an American story. Jeffrey Epstein, American. Alan Dershowitz, American. Bill Clinton, American. Prince Andrew, though, technically, we're still in the monarchy, so that's part of our royal family. Don't you think the fact that he's a pedophile and Buckingham Palace tried to cover that up, don't you think we might want to know? And isn't it also a big story that a major news outlet killed a story that would have exposed a massive pedophile ring and let it continue for 3 more years? How many more children were raped and trafficked and possibly murdered because ABC quashed that story? They said they had enough evidence and pictures to get Clinton, Epstein, Prince Andrew, probably more, and it was killed. So Disney, which did this, they like to protect their image to children because, Disney, you think Aladdin, you think Little Mermaid, you think Pedophile Island, you think The Lion King, and I get it. They want to maintain these things. They bought up Marvel, and they're now buying Fox, and so the X-Men and everything will be a Disney movie from now on. So you can't really see, the next, we're going to think of Iron Man or the next, I guess, Spider-Man movie. There's going to be less graphic violence, maybe Wolverine won't be stabbing people through the chest and you see the blood pouring up because they want to make it more child-friendly because that's their image. You know who would make you a more child-friendly company? Is if you were the ones who took down the pedophile island. Maybe you should take down pedophile island. By the way, is Bryan Singer still making movies? Don't we all know he's a pedophile? Come on. So they sat on this. The media's not exposing this. Isn't this a huge story that ABC killed this story? That it was covered up. Isn't this big? Isn't this a big deal? A former president, member of the royal family, major news organization, multi-conglomerate, multi-billion-dollar corporation, all being involved in a pedophile island. Okay. Now, one other story they did cover, and this is completely related, and they did the story in the CBC, is they had a story on sort of online harassment of MPs, and hate speech is getting really, and they had an MP who was NDP. For non-Canadians, that's like our Socialist Party, and she was an Asian woman. I can't remember her name, Tran or whatever, and it wasn't really relevant that she was Asian, but they made it relevant. So they do a story on like how terrible social media harassment is, and like the guys like in her office, there's actually a panic button for our staff that if they see enough mean comments on social media, they can hit the panic button, and I guess something will happen. I don't know what, but that was true. And they were showing things like she faced racism and sexism and misogyny. And one of the comments they put up on Twitter is someone said, "You are so corrupt." So that classifies as what? Racism and misogyny. Telling a politician that they're corrupt is now racist and misogynistic. And the reason why I say this is related to Epstein is because this is the new push of the government and the media conglomerates. They're in bed together because they have mutual interests here. The powerful, let's say. Trudeau wants to monopolize the media and control the source of information. And one way they're going to do that is portray online social media networks as dangerous, as parts of incitement and hate speech. So we're literally talking about, can you not say mean things to a politician in a free country? This is where we're at right now. But this is literally the conversation we have. And the reason why this fits everyone's best interest is because the media want to kill social media because they know it's taking over their market share, but also it's exposing them for the frauds that they are, right? Who did more journalism today or yesterday? Project Veritas or all the mainstream media outlets combined over the last calendar year? It's not even close. It's not even close. So they want to quash this because they don't want to be upshowed by social media, and the government wants to control the news stream so Trudeau can buy the media and then just have his own sort of narrative go on into forever. So all this is very connected, and the fact that, they came up with that story on the Epstein day really makes me think that this was sort of like an ace in their sleeve, and because you can see, if you look at all the pieces coming together, you can just see it. Of course, there's also open borders talk, again, for the second day in a row, why we need to get rid of our immigration system. But this is also why I try and watch the CBC every day and do this, just to also, show that, if you follow the narrative, right, faithfully, if you just see what they're trying to build day to day to day to day, you can kind of see how the machine works. Right? That's why I kind of like watching commercials on mainstream media networks, because if you know who's paying for this, then you get extra perspective onto what you're being told. So this is why I do this, because I really think we need to kill the mainstream media before it kills social media. It's literally a war for information right now, and you have the government, you have the media, now you have Hollywood, and you have a crazy pedophile island against everyone else. And I'm on team everyone else. So if you want to help support the show, please donate to the Patreon or the PayPal so we can make this an everyday thing. So tonight's our interrupted episode, we hopefully can make that a Monday to Friday affair, and then, take back Canada from the... Oh, what's this get on the Rosemary Barden scale? On a scale of 1 to 10 on the Rosemary Barden scale, this gets 10 Hillary Clintons. So 10 Hillary Clintons out of 10 Rosemary Bardens. I will see you tonight.